Good morning. Welcome to the July 3rd, 2024 meeting of the Personnel Administration and Higher Education Committee. In the chairman's absence, as vice chair, I will be sitting in on this meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 10:01 and ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the prior committee meeting. Supervisor Merlino and Supervisor Bean on the second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Privilege of the floor. Anyone from the public who would like to make a comment on any of the items listed on the agenda? Liza?
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to draw your attention to your agenda item number 5, which is the referral from Economic Growth and Development Committee regarding changing a position from account manager, which is currently employment and training account manager, and our department name changed 2 years ago. And I've been trying to change this position, changing it to fiscal manager because the level of work has escalated greatly with additional grants, funding, and more public employees, our youth workers and interns, et cetera. I wanted the committee to have as much information as possible as you are making this decision and have the full background. So I've been advocating for this change for the person's job to include the work that is being done. And last fall, I was told to wait until January 2024. And then in January, I was told to wait until budget. And my budget started Monday, July 1, this week. We are on an academic year. And this position is fully funded by our federal grant, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, WIOA. So I understand that typically there are not mid-year changes or end-of-year changes. But I do think this is different for our department. And I don't think one size fits everybody. Certainly we need rules, resolutions, regulations, but it doesn't always work for every department and every employee. We saw that during COVID, right? The policies and procedures didn't work out for every employee in every department. So I'm asking for you to think about that a little bit more, not just about that fairness, that equality is not always fair, right? Fairness is about everybody getting what they need. And so if an employee has been asking, and I've been asking for a job description to be updated to reflect the current work, and I've been having this conversation for several years, and we continue to push it back, how do we expect employees to feel valued when we have a people shortage that is permanent because of changing demographics, and we have a system that does not adequately allow for objective and not subjective evaluations of people's jobs, their responsibilities, the level of risk, if they're working outside of hours, if they're supporting the public or just county offices. These are the things that we have not gotten right in our county, and our county employees know it and feel it and talk about it all the time. And as a workforce development professional, if I am not advocating for Warren County employees, I don't feel like I'm doing my job. And that is why I'm here today, to make sure that you have as much information as possible on this decision and the implications of it. Either way, whether it is pushed to budget season and then it would be pushed back again to January 2025, or if it proceeds now because it is not, it may be an inconvenience to somebody, but it's about doing the right thing for our workers. And there's no implications on county budget. This is my budget that started Monday, July 1st. And I was told that the fiscal manager position was out of unit. And so if it's out of unit, I'm also curious if that means that that civil service laws may or may not be applicable there. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide more information, but I wanted to make sure you had as much information as possible before this vote. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Molino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lisa, that's very impressive. I'm, we all been getting these letters from all our employees to support them. I probably got 50, 60, 70 emails last week, and I think we all got them. And it's nice to see a department head really working hard for an employee. And we have to start taking care of our employees. And we have to start, stop worrying about it's too much money for somebody, and because these people can go other places and get money, better money, and we'll lose people that, I don't know how much, time has she having with the county right now? Do you know? 12 years. So you don't want to lose somebody with that kind of experience, and I'm fully in support of what you're saying, and I vote yes for this.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public would like to speak on this? Hearing, oh,
I'll just say that this did go through economic growth first. It did pass unanimously.
anyone else, public comment? Okay, Jackie, come on up.
Good morning. I just want to say, because there is a note on the agenda that as the designated personnel officer, there's an objection. The objection is only to the use of this specific title, not to changing the title or reclassifying the position. The definitions of these existing titles that current employees work in are already documented. People have been tested based on those descriptions, and this particular instance does not fit this job description. We came up with a different job description that is the appropriate title in my estimation as the personnel officer. And I think there will be additional implications for those people who exist in this title, because we are essentially going to end up changing that job description to fit a person instead of putting the person into the correct job title. So my reservation and concerns are for our job description and the existing other employees in that title who've already been tested and permanently appointed to that title. It's difficult to change the description when there are people in that job already who meet all of those qualifications and perform all of those duties. So I just wanted to say, I don't disagree that we should reward long-term employees. I don't disagree with Liza that it should be looked at for reclassification. It's a very old school title that she's working with. It doesn't match the name of her department, but I don't think that fiscal manager is the correct title. And that's what our conversation was, that as a personnel officer, this is not the correct title for this reclassification.
Then do you have a correct title?
I do. There's a title that was created several years ago for Office for the Aging. It's fiscal coordinator. And it's somebody who performs all of those same functions in a department that is smaller. The key difference from my standpoint in the distinguishing features of the class is the fact that every other fiscal manager has a staff of between 3 and 6 support staff, account managers, account clerks, senior account clerks, and principal account clerks that support them because of the volume that their departments do. And in this case, it's a standalone one person, which is similar to what they have in Office for the Aging. And that position was created for this exact circumstance. So that supervision piece is key from a civil service standpoint. People are tested on that part, and that it doesn't apply in this instance. But I think that fiscal coordinator title is the appropriate title. I think there was concern that the salary was not high enough using that correct title. So I just wanted to make clear what my objection was. It wasn't that this person should stay where they are and do what they're doing. It was that this is not the correct title.
Jackie, how many fiscal managers does Warren County have
3.
now?
They're in Public Health, Department of Public Works, and DSS. So that was, I just wanted to make clear that it wasn't, my objection wasn't to reclassifying the position overall. It was just the use of this specific title. Because it will impact the existing employees that are in that title.
Chairman, if I could just add, I was in court for the committee meetings where this was discussed and wasn't available. There's a particular procedure that's laid out. It may not be as clear as it should be in the resolutions, but there's a requirement that the personnel officer approves these requests, and there's a reason for that, because they have to comply with the civil service law. So when the county's personnel officer is objecting to what's being proposed, that potentially is raising a legal issue and a concern that's going to impact the county going forward. I hear the conversation and I can tell that there's strong feelings and beliefs about this position and how it should be properly classified. But absent the approval of the personnel officer, this should not have gone to the committee to begin with. But it did, and it went through on a vote. I'm hopeful that there's a way to work this out so that the personnel officer can approve it, which is the imprint you need for it to pass civil service muster. Otherwise, we're going to have challenges and legal issues arise, not just this position, but anytime you overstep the personnel officer's determination, especially when it comes to this type of a classification. So that's it. I don't know if there's a way to do that today or not. I just have a concern hearing that the representative for New York State Civil Service Administration has a objection to this.
John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think my recommendation, we've talked about it with several committee chairs, would be to take no action on this today. And we'd sit down and come up with a recommendation that we could bring forward to the committee probably by next month on a direction forward with this one.
Well, if we're gonna discuss this, then that's fine. I have an objection because it's $9,265 raise. I think that's it's nice to get, but I think that's more than enough. Also, I kind of agree with the personnel of the civil service officer that, we're skipping over the physical coordinator position. Because it doesn't provide a $9,265 raise. It's only $2,000 or $3,000. I don't see where a physical manager manages people, manages 3, 4 other people that are keeping track of accounts. Not just one organization department. But I don't agree with, I don't think. There probably should be some adjustment, but I think you're skipping a position.
Chairman?
Yeah, I don't want to sound petty, but I'm going to. I take issue with Supervisor Merlino's comments about the employees. Having sat in on negotiations since 2012 and try to take care of the employees and get them the best salary increases we can, I take issue that we don't. It's great that we want to dole out all sorts of increases, which we try to do. And we're in CSEA negotiations. And you need to know the facts about our CSEA negotiations, which we won't talk about. But I don't want the employees watching this think that we, as supervisors, don't care about them. We do. We work very hard to try to get good contracts for all our employees, whatever union they're in. And in most cases, it works out. And we're in negotiations right now, and that's all I'm going to say. But I take issue when a supervisor says, I certainly care about every employee who works for this county. And I want to give them a fair wage, just like we do for all our towns. So I take issue with what Gene's comments were about that. Thank you.
If this was discussed further for another month, it came to economic growth, personnel, finance, the board and approved, could the employee see that title change and increase in salary for fiscal coordinator effective July 1st?
No.
No. But it could be effective August something
It could be effective as of the date it's effective.
from the board, the full board.
Yes.
And just to clarify, I'd like to bring it back in August, possibly, if we think we can come to a good resolution on this. Our preference for these is always to go through the budget cycle. That's what we have in our rules of the board for these types of situations. And I think it probably should be a budget cycle discussion.
Yeah, Elijah, go ahead, please.
I have copies of the fiscal coordinator job description that Jackie referenced. If anybody would like to see that, I'm happy to pass that out. I did offer that Friday as well. In your packet, you will see on the job description for account manager and fiscal manager, under required knowledge, skills, abilities, and attributes, they are exactly the same. And then I'm making this point to say that it's not just about the money, it is about the job duties. So under fiscal manager, under typical work activities, those first two lines are things that my current account manager is doing that are not on the current job description. So that is why I was still pushing for fiscal manager and not coordinator. I also already have a coordinator in my office, not a fiscal coordinator, but a coordinator. And so to go from account manager to a coordinator doesn't sound like, it sounds like a demotion to me as a workforce development professional. So it is about title, it is about job duties, it is not just about money. It is also not just about my budget. Although I have a smaller budget than other departments that have fiscal managers, the work is more complicated. So we have 14 different payroll codes because we have youth workers, because we have college interns, because we have people who serve adults, youth, and dislocated workers, because we have administrative folks. So the work is more tedious and the manager has more reporting to do to state and feds, as well as audits. And so it's not about supervision, it's not about money, and it's not about the budget. This person is doing payroll, budget, and all payments to our vendors, our educational partners in our community, and helping to manage those fiscal contracts as well. So I wanted to make sure you had that. I am happy to pass out the fiscal coordinator job description. That way you have it to compare to the other two. And then and I will support certainly whatever the committee decides. Again, my worry only is, of course, having to wait again, having to wait again. And then my employee also having to wait again, as we've been having this conversation for a few years. Thank you again.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the agenda. Is there anyone here from SUNY Adirondack? Not seeing anyone. We'll move on to action agenda item number 2, which is a request from the Human Resources Director.
And I'm back. Here we go.
Morning again. My request is to rescind resolution 73 of 2020. Anybody who's a department head is aware RE 73 is a reason code in Nova Time to pay folks for time off when they are diagnosed with COVID. The state requirement to pay specific time off for COVID pay is sunsetting on July 31st. So we are just requesting that this Warren County requirement also sunset along with the state requirement.
Motion to bring this to the floor. Thomas? Mr. Bean, discussion? Hearing nothing, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved on to, number B. Letter. Okay. Oh, that was, okay, I'm sorry.
That was,
And I think everyone received the report on tracking of vacancies, in your packets. So, number 3 is a request, by the Information Technology Director. Good morning, Mike.
Morning. So I'm just here to get $160,000. But normally I think they would make Supervisor Thomas leave the room, but 10 years ago when I took over, we were spending 20 grand a year on maintenance contracts. We quit doing that, set the money aside, and all the money's in the reserve fund. So we saved 200 grand over the last 10 years, and it's sitting there. We just need to move it so we can replace our phone system this year. And so we're doing a resolution for to move that money for $160,000.
Motion to bring that to the floor. Supervisor Molino and Supervisor E2 on the second. Discussion, questions?
This is for the phone system.
Yeah, our current system's about 30 years old, well past its shelf life, and so now it can't be updated anymore, and it makes some cyber issues kind of thing, and new features that we can't get, even though it's still working, but so we have to kind of catch up.
How much is in the reserve?
Right now, 297,000. The year started off with 388. We spent 91 on some other projects, and there's 297 right now.
E2, did you have something?
Just where it says to cover the cost of purchasing computers, or is that synonymous with phone systems?
Yeah, because at one point the reserve fund was set up for just computers, and then it got adjusted years ago, and we had the idea of including our phone systems to say computers and telecommunications.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. We've got the motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thanks, Mike. Anything else?
Thank you, unless you have some questions.
Item number 4 is a referral from the Criminal Justice, Public Safety and Emergency Services Committee, chaired by Supervisor Gerasi. Letter A is a request to amend the table of organization and salary schedule to decrease the annual salary of the 8th Assistant Public Defender from $96,936 to $81,921 effective July 22nd. Motion to bring that to the floor, please. Supervisor Bean and Supervisor Thomas on the second. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Letter B is a request to amend the table of organization and salary schedule to create the new position of 13th Assistant Public Defender, annual salary $89,318, also effective July 22nd, 2024. Motion to bring that to the floor. Supervisor Bean and Supervisor Mayday on the second. Questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question.
Good.
What's the difference between the number 13 and number 8?
Thank you.
Why is one 89,000 and one's 81,000? Somebody,
Yeah, I
Aaron,
would think that 13th would get less money than the 8th.
Sure. So, it just goes in line with experience. When we're setting this up, it also kind of correlates with the grant funding that we've requested and they've approved. So these 2 line items just follow both of those. Allows us to bring in, people with 2 different sets of experience and also follow the guidelines and the contract funding we've received.
so the 8th was vacant and you filled it? At 11.
Actually, the 8th is currently vacant. Yes, and the 13th is new due to new contract funding we received from Harrell Herring.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? We have a couple motions we have a motion on the floor, so all in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Item number 5 is a referral from the Economic Growth and Development Committee chaired by Supervisor Etu. Regarding workforce development, we've already heard from Liza Oxendorf, the director. It's a request to amend the table of organization and salary schedule to create a new position of fiscal manager, annual salary of $70,401. I think I'm gonna turn that over to our county administrator, and John, if you'd like to walk us through the proposed action on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So again, we, and Larry explained it, the county attorney explained it, that if the personnel officer does not approve a position title, it should not have gone to the committee. And we are going to make changes to the form so that's more explicit and clear. But that being the case, we recommend that we take no action on this today. And we'll get together with the department head and the personnel officer and see if we can come up with a reasonable solution for this that the personnel officer can approve, and we'll bring it back to committee.
Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I like what that's, I'll make that motion.
Oh, so we don't need to take any action,
Oh,
so,
no,
okay.
okay, on it.
Okay.
Is consensus that we agree with the recommendations of the administrator and the county attorney?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Great. Number 6 is a referral from the Health Services Committee chaired by Supervisor Strainer, who is with us today. Request to amend the table of organization and salary schedule to decrease the annual salary of the public health program coordinator position from $66,055.08 to $0 effective August 12th. Motion to bring that to the floor, please. Supervisor Bean and Supervisor Thomas on the second. Questions or comments?
Being eliminated.
Pardon me?
I'm guessing this position's being eliminated. Is that correct?
It's a series of changes. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes, so A and B, in the 2024 budget, the position of public health manager was unfunded. The position of public health program coordinator was funded. They want to switch the two, and the reason they want to do that is due to a resignation from the WIC department. In changing this and funding that position, they're going to be able to allocate a portion, 40% of that salary from that position to WIC to be 100% funded. So in the end, this will be a cost savings to the county by doing this and funding the position at the, I want to get the right terminology, the public health manager position.
And we're keeping a valued employee, basically just shifting their duties and responsibilities to a couple of different positions. So,
Yeah, the position's being unfunded, but not deleted.
okay, thank you. Okay, so I'll call the question. All in favor of approval of item A, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. And number B is request to amend the table of organization salary schedule to increase the annual salary of the public health manager position from $0 to $71,535 and to transfer the position from prevention program to health education effective August 12th. And we probably could have combined those two, but a motion to bring B to the table. Supervisor Bean and Supervisor Thomas on the second. Questions or comments? Hearing nothing, I will call the question. All in favor of approval of number B, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. On to numbers, to letter C. Request to amend the table of organization salary schedule to create the new position of Early Intervention Services Coordinator, number 1, grade 18, base annual salary of $14,377, and Early Intervention Services Coordinator, Part 3, part-time, 30 hours per week, grade 18th, base salary of $51,611, effective September 1st. Motion to bring that to the floor, please. Supervisor Bain and Supervisor Thomas. Questions or comments? Hearing nothing, I will call the question. All in favor of approval of letter C, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. On to number 7, which is referral from the Public Works Committee chaired by Supervisor Conover. And I see our superintendent, Mr. Hajos, here today. It's a request to amend resolution number 167 of 2024, amending the table of organization in Warren County salary and compensation plan for 2024 to create positions within the Department of Public Works, to delete the position of fiscal manager number 2, annual salary of $65,807 to $73,327. Motion to bring that to the floor. Supervisor Bean, Supervisor Thomas, on the second. Questions or comments? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor of approval of number 7, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Okay, we're on to number 8, which is request from the clerk of the board, Amanda Allen, request for transfer of funds in the amount of $4,910.92 from the budget code to the contingent account, other payments, contributions to budget code, legislative board, consulting fees to cover the cost of an unanticipated bill from Fitzgerald Morris, Baker and Firth for 2023 service bonds. Motion to bring that to the floor, please. Supervisor E2 and Supervisor Bean on the second. Discussion. Hearing nothing, I will call the question. All in favor of approval of number 8, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. On to number 9. Request of items to be discussed by the county attorney, Larry Elman. Request number 1 is transfer of funds in the amount of $40,460.56 for budget code A 1990469 contingent account, other payments, contributions to budget code A 1325-419 county treasurer settlements to pay 2 defendants in the matter of Cynthia Rich and all versus County of Warren and Christine Norton as county treasurer, filed on March 6, 2024. Motion to bring that to the floor, please.
Mr. Chairman, if I can just correct.
Yeah,
one
yeah,
word.
please.
It says 2 defendants. It should be 2 plaintiffs.
Oh,
To pay 2 plaintiffs. I
that
apologize.
makes sense. With that correction, do I have a motion to bring that to the floor? Supervisor E2, Supervisor Molino on the second. Questions or discussion? Hearing nothing, I will call the question. All in favor of approval of item 1, say aye. Any opposed? So moved. Request number 2 is to create a part-time position of property and casualty risk management. The reason for that is to develop, implement, and manage countywide risk management process and programming to reduce loss-related costs and increase county's insurance rating to reduce future premium costs. Motion to bring that to the floor, please. Supervisor Bean. Supervisor E2 on the second. Questions or comments? Supervisor Thomas.
Is this going to evolve into a full-time position?
After the initial 2 to 3 year period, when the position is fully established, the intent would be is to move, well, to evaluate it but I suspect that we will move from a part-time position to a full-time position down the road.
Are we gonna be able to entice somebody to take this job?
Yes.
Anyone else? I will call the question. All in favor of approval of number 2, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. On to number 3, which is a request to transfer of funds totaling $37,220.75 from budget code A 1990-469 contingent account, other payments, contributions to the various budget codes within the county attorney's departmental budget. The reason for this is to fund positions through the remainder of 2024. Motion to bring that to the floor, Supervisor E2 and Supervisor Bean on the second. Any questions or comments for Mr. Ellman or the committee? Hearing nothing, I will call the question. All in favor of approval of number 3, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We have a number of discussion items. Many of them are litigation, but we've got the number 1 is the 2024 tax foreclosure lawsuit. And
Chairman, if I may.
yes, please.
Just a public service announcement for anyone who happens to be listening to this on YouTube or live. As of June 27th, there were still 123 parcels subject to the foreclosure action. The last day to redeem, the last day to pay your past due real property taxes in order to prevent your real property from not going through the tax foreclosure process and losing title. The last day is July 12th, 2024. Not July 13th, not August 1st. It's July 12th of 2024, and I'm encouraging anyone who has unpaid real property taxes to make sure they pay them to the county treasurer's office by the close of business on July 12th, 2024. If you do not want to wait in an incredibly long line, show up on Monday. Do not wait for the last day to pay those taxes. Please, the county of Warren has no interest or desire in foreclosing and taking title to any of the properties ever that are in the tax foreclosure sale. But only the property owners or the other interested parties have any ability to pay those taxes. We encourage you to do so without any further delay. I appreciate that's the end of my public service announcement. In reviewing the litigation that's ongoing, I will defer to the committee if they would like to enter into an executive session for a detailed discussion and update on litigation matters. I can summarize that there have been no new notices of claim filed with the county since the last committee meeting. And we have not received service of any new lawsuits since the last committee meeting. And there is nothing so pressing in any of the litigation matters that are currently pending that cannot wait till the next committee meeting to be briefed, unless there's a particular matter that a committee member would like to address in executive session.
Is there any member of the committee that wishes to discuss any of the items listed on your agenda? Does anyone have any individual questions for our county attorney? Hearing nothing, we on to, and there seems to be no pending items unless nothing was added, so go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to just say that on pending, not pending items, but back to SUNY Adirondack, we kind of went through that pretty quickly, but next month at this committee, they will come forward. You've all gotten a copy of their one-page document explaining their electrical project, the capital project. They would like to get that before the August board, so they'll be here next month to answer any questions, and we'll present that to this committee, hopefully to get it before the August board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we adjourn, the privilege of the floor, any public comments from the public, supervisors or anyone else present? Hearing nothing, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Supervisor Etu, Supervisor Dean, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.